superlatives time. These could be good. These could be bad. I mean,
we've been talking a lot of
but
good,
for
so
here,
yeah.
It's time to be. Oh, Dr. Doom, come on, join the club. Dr. Doom needs a sidekick. Okay, and I'm setting this up so no one expects anything positive to come out of what Chris is going to say for his first one. Go.
No bouquet of roses for everybody here in this segment. Well, my first superlative is the Sports Radio Award, the WFAN Award, up here in New York. Sports Radio 66, The Fan, WFAN. Hey, what the hell's going on with Daniel Jones? They got to get rid of Daniel freaking Jones. Can they trade him right now? Can we cut him? I don't care. I'll take Tommy DeVito over Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones... Again, it wasn't as bad as it looks, but this play is as bad as it looks.
That's Carson Wentz. That's Carson Wentz stuff. Bad Carson Wentz, not good Carson Wentz.
You're right about that. There's nobody open there, right? He wanted to throw the ball in the flat originally. He was covered. He thought he was going to be able to get the ball out of his hand. Then he just panicked and threw it away for an easy pick six. Yeah, you played too much ball. You're too old to do that. You got to be smarter than that. You got to know that WFAM and Geo and Boomer are ready, and their guys are ready to crap on you anyways. So you got to be smart with decisions like that. Now he's opened up Pandora's box. Yeah, she's in there, and that's all.
Now.
She's everywhere, and that's all the Giants are going to hear about all week is Daniel Jones and his play, and can he be good for them this year and win football games?
Well, first of all, Daniel, shave the beard if you haven't already. It didn't work for you. Secondly, on the interception down the sideline wasn't nearly
not that
as
bad.
ugly.
No,
but you got to know who's covering your guy. You got to know that it's Derek Stingley Jr., and if it's close, he's going to go take it from your guy. You got to have an awareness to who is covering, I think. And so that makes it not as bad, but pretty damn close, even though it didn't look nearly as ugly. And Brian Daboll said after the game that, hey, this is the time of year to make the mistakes. I mean, yeah, but they put these games on TV. People watch these games. The social media teams post after each score like it means something. You can't play the "it doesn't mean anything" card when it's the only thing that fans have to go by as to whether or not this guy is ready. You can't say, well, he's getting it all out of his system now. That's not how it works. It's a harbinger of what's to come. That's how fans are going to view it.
Yeah, they are. And we know that he's not viewed favorably anyways with a lot of Giant fans. It is the first time back, since the ACL injury, right? So I didn't think he'd be perfect, right? But yeah, you'd like it a little bit of a cleaner game, that's for sure. And even on that second interception, like you said, it's not egregious. I think what bothers me is it's not the appropriate ball. It's not the appropriate thought in where you should deliver it. That shouldn't have been that type of throw. That should have either been lofted up and throw it down the field and let the guy go run and get it, or maybe some sort of back shoulder at some point knowing, Stingley's trying to make a play on this and undercut this a little bit. That's what I think bothered me more than anything, but hopefully this week he gets a few more reps and can get that bad taste out of his mouth.
We just saw in the last segment the guy who's never played in a regular season game understand where the ball needed to be placed in a not all that different situation, up and over, not thread the needle because there's going to be somebody there to grab it. And I think he had one that Stingley could have picked off earlier too.
He did to the right side. He did right side, or that might have been his first throw of the game if I remember correctly. Just a little 6-yard hitch route, and Neighbors ran it. Neighbors didn't do him any favors, but. Yeah, dicey decision. Certainly didn't, start the game off looking real sharp.
Remember 6 years ago when Matt Nagy was the first-year head coach of the Chicago Bears, and we had the close-up of him. I think it was a Sunday night game, and he had the play sheet, and it said in big letters, BU. The BU award coming out of week 2 of the preseason is Brock Purdy. Because, there's been a lot of talk. He wants to be dominant, wants to be like Tom Brady in that they have the knockout punch ready to go. Had 7 interceptions in back-to-back practices right after he said that he wants to be dominant. I feel like he's trying to be someone that he is not. And he's trying to do things that he is not capable of doing. There's that fine line between what your body is able to do and what it's not able to do, and you need to know where that line is and stay on the this is the stuff I can do side of it. The throw he tried to make across the body, and Kyle Shanahan downplayed it a little bit in the post-game press conference, that was an ugly example of a guy trying to do something he just can't do. And maybe now that he knows he can't do it, he won't try. But, he rolls to the left, he stops, and he fires it all the way back across the field. It should have been picked off. The intended receiver did a nice job of keeping it from being an interception.
Yep.
But, we're watching for that now because there is this question as he's trying to go next level. He's got the big contract coming. How big is it going to be? Depends on how good he is this year. Is he just a system guy? And people act like that's a bad word. He can run the system. Just run the system. You don't have to try to be Patrick Mahomes if you don't have the skills to play like Patrick Mahomes. And if he did, he wouldn't have been the last pick in the draft.
That's
He's
right.
a guy who can run the offense to perfection. And Kyle Shanahan, I think, needs to be on him. Brock, just run the offense to perfection. Don't try to do stuff that you just can't do.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying, right? I do. I think last night shows you sometimes that, when Shanahan doesn't game plan and trick it up, that Brock Purdy is not going to just be able to get it done with like great throws or great movement and doing that. That's not who he is. To your point too, there's nothing wrong with being the system quarterback. He can run that system better than most because of his skill set. There is something to that. There's a strength there. It's a quality. So it's not all bad that way. It's not. But there's been a lot of talk of from him, I want to take over games this year. I want to do stuff like that now you hear the interception stuff in practice or you watch last night and you go, oh, he wants to show everybody that it's not the system and he can physically do some special things out there. And I would say,
all due respect, this is just hideous. Look at that. It's hideous. It's hideous.
I know. Exactly right. It's that's not something like Shanahan's going to be like, man, you played too much football to do that. That's crazy there. That is a little worrisome. But I hope he's not putting that extra pressure on himself or whatever when he doesn't need to. And if he just continues to run the system to perfection like he does so much of the time, and his little nuance of feel and timing and having anticipation, that's good enough to be a really damn good quarterback in the NFL. So we'll see where it goes, but yeah, it's Brock Purdy. We'll see what this offense looks like. The Niners, the Ayuk, the Trent Williams thing right now, they don't seem quite themselves as we sit here halfway through the preseason.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the easy explanation is he doesn't have all of his guys. But even if you have all your guys, you can't do that. You can just tell by watching that play. He lacks the natural ability to pull off what he was trying to do. You can see when someone is pushing it beyond the boundaries of what they can do. And he was clearly doing that last night. And he had another ugly throw that there was only a Saints player in the vicinity last night. Not as bad as that one, but I'd be concerned if I was a 49ers fan that all of a sudden this guy is going to try to will his way into being a top 5 quarterback when he doesn't have the skills for that. He's got the skills, like you said, to run that offense, which is not an easy offense to run. You got to be smart. You got to be able to make the checks. You got to be able to do everything Kyle Shanahan expects you to do. That's hard enough. Just do that well. Don't do something you can't do.
I think that's it. And here's one thing that's kind of popped through my brain a little bit through training camp and all of that is last year, the fact that Sam Darnold was there and Sam Darnold's got skills and looked at as a starter by a lot of teams in football, I would bet you that kept Brock Purdy on the straight and narrow every day going, I better practice good today. I better have a good day. I mean, Sam Darnold's talented. He's smart. He's making plays out here. I got to do that. I don't know if there's a guy there right now that's going to make him feel that. That would be the other part of this equation, too, that has popped into my mind a little bit with Brock Purdy. I went to the Super Bowl. I'm the man. There's no big-time established backup behind me. I'm the guy, chest pumped out a little bit, and I'm going to make plays this year and show everybody I'm a superstar, and hopefully he doesn't fall into that trap.
And also remember what he was told last year early in the offseason. We're going to try to sign Tom Brady, and he's going to be the quarterback this year. That wasn't on the table this year. He's the guy now. He went to the Super Bowl. He's the man. Anywhere you look, he's going to get a huge contract as soon as the season ends. And it's going to be, a good contract, but they may end up having a pretty big gap as to what he thinks he's worth and what the 49ers are willing to pay him. Because, hey, we found you in the last pick in the draft. We'll go find somebody else who can run the offense the way we want it to be run. So this could be a tougher negotiation than we think, and maybe that's why he's pushing himself to be something more than just guy who comes in and runs the system the way that he's run it. But he just needs to accept that's his superpower, and he needs to lean into it and embrace it, or things are going to possibly not go as intended for the 49ers this year.
Yeah, hopefully. He definitely needs to change his approach from what we saw last night. That's for sure. All right, I got one more right to go here. I'm gonna take one from like our work buddy Matthew Berry and have a commander's command superlative. But I really what I want to say is like they got their guy. That's maybe the superlative I should say. They got their guy. Yeah, Caleb Williams is picked number 1. This guy, as we've talked about, is like 1A. He's not even number 2 pick of the draft. He just, you want to talk about like Bo Nix, like we talk about Caleb Williams, just the look test, the comfort, right? Just how easy the game is, how smooth his stroke is throwing the football. Could throw it with power easily, and then we could see just how easy he runs at all that. How could the Commanders not be pumped by what they've got and Jaden Daniels, how he looks, and just how mature and comfortable he looks, I think is the most impressive thing to me so far.
You mentioned Stroud earlier. He was the 2nd overall pick in 2023. That same potential thing that could happen for the Bears could happen for the Commanders, where quarterback plays lights out, elevates the entire team. I think the Commanders have a better chance to win the NFC East than the Bears do going into the season to win the NFC North, all due respect to the Eagles. But the Commanders could be that team that, go ahead, pay attention to the Bears. Heap all your praise on Caleb Williams. We'll just go about our business, and our guy, who's pretty damn good, will maybe take us places we haven't been in a very long time. So I think you're right. I think they're in a good spot, and the less that people notice, maybe the better they're going to be.
Yeah, they got an offense that fits them. They got some weapons there. Right, O-line, certainly a question mark. Run game, can they do that? Are there enough studs on defense? They're a team that is in a little bit of a transition, but it wouldn't shock me if they surprised some people and became dangerous on the offensive side of the ball with this guy's skill set, that's for sure.
All right, we've seen salty Tua. I don't know what Tua this is. Just how about loose and effective Tua on Saturday night? 5 for 5, 1 drive, 11 plays, a touchdown pass to River Craycraft, where it was a nice little touch ball up and over, right into the basket for the score. Perfect night, off the field, done. But the kind of thing that you need to build a little confidence so you're ready to go week 1. They've got their opening game, and then they follow it up with a short week. They got the Jaguars week 1. They got the Bills on Thursday night, both at home. They got to be ready to go. They got to win these early season games because they need to set themselves up the first 2/3 of the season with a pretty damn good record because the gauntlet for them comes down the stretch starting Thanksgiving night in Green Bay. Tough game after tough game after tough game, and we've seen them fall apart down the stretch each of the last 2 years. They need to be ready to go, fatten up their schedule, hope they can hit a new level late in the year. And Tua looking like a guy who's ready to come out of the gates. He didn't have Tyreek Hill last night, didn't have Jalen Waddle, didn't have Teron Armstead, still looked pretty damn good. Exactly really what the Dolphins need.
Looked really good. I think maybe looked as good as I've ever seen Tua look. That was one of the things I wrote down as I was sitting there watching it. And the body looks good, right? The way he's moving, his throwing, I thought the ball actually popped out of his hand with a little more power than I thought. They're going to need him to play big-time football early on. One, hey, he's got to answer the bell of I'm one of the highest paid players in all of football, and there's going to be a spotlight on him. We know that. But two, right, I don't know what their defense is going to be this year. It's fair to question it. Yeah, defensive coordinator change, we know that. They lost a ton of people on defense. There's no more Christian Wilkins. Bradley Chubb's not going to be himself early in the year. Jalen Phillips isn't going to be himself early in the year. So they're going to have to ride that offense and do that. Tua looked good. Their offense looked good. They have so many damn plays and things they do, even in the preseason when teams are going, we're just going to keep it simple. Simple for the Dolphins is still page 87 in the playbook for everybody else. And they're fun to watch that way. But damn, he looked good, Mike. I'm with you.
Okay.
you have a chance to win $1 million in the NBC sweepstakes on Yahoo Fantasy. Just download the redesigned Yahoo Fantasy app or go to NBCSports.com/fantasymillion for additional details. What are you waiting for?
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.